intimidating, right? Have you experienced failures at school? And how many of you are really scared of failure? Now, the very purpose of today's workshop is just to help you get rid of this fear. I can understand stage fright. When you stand on the street for the first time, you're all nervous, right? Something gets on your nerves, and you are unable to communicate, and you become nervous, you begin to sweat, and you get wet at the end of the session. But now, this is completely different. Failure is something that happens in our lives, at every point in life, right? Now, what exactly is failure? Can anybody quickly define the term failure? Anybody? One of the girls or boys?
Not achieving your goal, not being able to achieve.
All right. Not being able to achieve one's goals, objectives, the end, and so on and so forth. But all the time, the definition itself is flawed. Just somebody said it's a flawed mistake. Or I can say, can I call it a flawless mistake? That's a problem. We need to redefine our definition of failure. Instead of saying, I'm being unable to achieve the destination or hit the goal, let's say it's an essential part of our journey. How many of you believe in that? Failure, now if you want to make a cake, okay, your mom bakes you a cake, and what are the ingredients required? All right, excellent. Okay, so when she makes the cake, she knows the ingredients, and so do you. And they say, in order to be able to achieve that success, one of the most important ingredients is failure. Do you all agree with me?
Yes.
It is essential. It is an essential ingredient to be able to make success, as good as a piece of cake. And therefore, facing failure, I'm going to discuss with you certain ways, certain means, which will probably help you get rid of this fear of failure, and this will also prepare you or help you face failure in a successful life. A couple of years ago, my son, a student at the School of Medicine, and he came with a heavy heart. Probably I thought he failed one of his papers. And he said, Dad, I passed, but I'm not happy. I asked him why. He simply said, I was deprived of the opportunity to learn properly. Now I got a C+ on this particular exam. I don't have to just look back on whatever I learned. I'm not going to repeat the course. As a result, I have been deprived of the opportunity to learn something thoroughly, completely, perfectly. And I was a little shocked and surprised. Now when everybody is looking for success, when everybody wants to get through an exam just in one attempt, here is a guy who would like to repeat. Don't you think that it's an opportunity to learn something properly? Okay? So, failure is an opportunity. First of all, we need to think. To know something perfectly, flawlessly. Alright? At the end of the day, what's important? Knowledge and experience. Right? And the application of the same knowledge to real life situations. For that purpose, the basic ingredient, the basic thing is perfect knowledge. And failure gives you that knowledge. Can somebody read the first one? Listen to this. Albert Einstein, give him a round of applause. A famous scientist, Albert Einstein, once said, failure is success in progress. What a wonderful statement it is, right? Failure is therefore success. If someone says he has or she has never ever failed in her life or his life, the person has never tried anything. If I say I have never failed, I haven't tried anything. Those who try will fail. There's a law of nature, right? Therefore, he said failure is success in progress. It is on and on and on. Success in progress is failure. Now, can somebody read the second one?
Success is going from failure to failure without losing its
Yes. Who said this?
Edison.
Edison. Anybody else? Even one of the parents? These were the golden words of Sir Winston Churchill during the Second World War. So he said, success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. Probably some of you present here may say it is easier said than done. But I say it is easy. If you think that success is nothing but failure, it is nothing short of failure. Moving from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm, then you will understand the subtle difference between success and failure. So they are inextricably intertwined together. Where there is failure, there is success. Where there is success, there has to be failure. They cannot be separated. They are integrally together. And that's the most important point that we understand from these two statements. Failure is success in progress, and success is moving from failure to failure. Is that okay? Now you have some idea about it. Now let's move on. What are the metrics of measuring failure? Now let's not talk about life in general. Let's talk about your academics, your day-to-day activities at school, at the tuition center, and so on. Now what are the metrics of measuring failure? I mean the parameters of measuring failure. For example, someone returns for failing a test or an exam, and he feels or she feels that's the end of the world. And he looks as if a great disaster has struck from nowhere. Okay, and his mind is not anywhere on academics. And he's completely away from what we are supposed to focus on. Completely frustrated, fatigued, and so on. Then, poor scores on tests and exams. Normally, what are your scores? Does everybody sitting here, achieve an A+, always, constantly? Every class test, unit test, monthly test, final exams? And what are your scores normally? B+? Let's put in terms of grades. Okay. It goes down to A, sometimes B, and so on. But there are some students who need to just redefine their perception of failure. They think that if they are unable to get a perfect score, 100 out of 100, they think they are failed. It's a mission failed. Is that a good idea?
No.
Right. Let's move on to the next one. Not getting an overall excellent. You have the grade system now here, right? Do you have the grade system? Or still the marks? You have the grade system and percentage, right? Now in the grade system, they start with good, very good, then excellent, then outstanding, and so on. And some children constantly strive to achieve excellence. Completely obsessed with the idea of achieving excellence every now and then. And therefore they forget the progress, the process. Constantly they concentrate upon the product. Is it a good idea? No, what I mean to say, for example, you want to achieve success in business. Maybe one of your parents, your dad, wants to achieve only success in business, and he defines success in terms of making money. Just imagine, that's a dangerous path, right? At the end of the day, whatever I do, wherever I go, whatever I think about, I want to make money. If I bring home 1,000 reals every day, I'm a successful businessman. Is it good or bad? It's bad, right? So what should decide and determine the outcome of your venture or business? The process, right? The means. The process should help you reach the product, not the other way around. If you constantly think about getting an excellent, an A+, outstanding, and so on, constantly. First of all, loss number one, you get frustrated. Alright, when you don't get to that level, you are not able to cope with the stress. Stress levels increase, you get frustrated, you are not what you are, what you need to be. And therefore, we should always remember it's the process that matters much more than the product. Once you make sure that the process is straight, you are 100% sure that you are heading towards a product. That's very important. Not bringing a trophy. How many of you are good at sports and games? What's your favorite sport? Table tennis. Okay. Do you always bring home a trophy?
Mostly, yeah.
Mostly you bring home. He says only mostly, not all the time. Is there anybody? One of the girls? Do you constantly bring home a trophy? Whenever you just represent your school at the zonal level, at the national level, etc., you try hard, but you are unable to. When you don't bring a trophy, sometimes parents immediately have a frown on their faces. Otherwise, their faces are pretty lovely, but they have a frown. The moment the son returns home without a trophy, so then they say failure. The failure syndrome gets in, right? But these are all simple things. Now, the reality. Now let's take a quick look at the reality. First one, it's nothing but success delayed. Alright? When you fail an exam, a test, or fail to bring a trophy home, it's nothing but success delayed, not denied. Right? Second one is, it's a vital step in the process. I spent quite a while describing to you all about the process. It is an essential step. If you don't fail, probably you miss out something very important. So that's an important step. Thirdly, reminder to change strategies. Now, what are your study strategies normally? You have certain techniques, certain strategies you have defined. Each individual is unique and distinct. Probably what works for him may not work for her. What works for Toastmaster Murali may not work for me. And therefore, we are all distinct by nature. And therefore, we have different strategies. Can you tell me what are the strategies that you have to improve your scores on the final exams? Do you have a specific strategy?
I usually relax first and then I say. So it's like a relaxed mind, I can learn faster.
Absolutely. He needs to relax before he starts working. Therefore, that's a very good strategy. Is there any other strategy?
Study beforehand.
Beforehand, study everything beforehand is another strategy. For example, now she studied beforehand. Unfortunately, she didn't just follow the practice of, spaced repetition and active recall. That's very important, right? You need to have spaced repetition and active recall, which she didn't do. What happens? In spite of studying beforehand, her scores are low. You understand? Therefore, what she does immediately, she takes a step back, thinks about her strategies, and she tries to modify her strategy or comes up with a new strategy. And the new strategy is, I'm going to spend every day half an hour trying to recall actively, and I'm going to do the spaced repetition. You repeat every day, then you just leave a gap of 2 days, again you repeat, leave a gap of 4 days, again you repeat. Spaced repetition. Now she changes the strategy in order to fix this issue. So it is an opportunity to change strategies. It's an opportunity to figure out challenges, right? Life is not that easy. As Madam said, life is not a bed of roses, right? Always. It should be. We all wish it were a bed of roses, but it doesn't happen always. And therefore, it's an opportunity to figure out some of the challenges in front of us. And that one cannot learn is a myth. How to learn well? And take a look at the last sentence. Absolutely. If someone says that learning is not a joke, learning is not a joke, sometimes we end up facing lots of stumbling blocks. We may not be able to get around these blocks. If you think that way, it's a myth. What's a myth? Something that is false and founded, right? That cannot be justified, or nobody can stand by it. It's a myth. And therefore, everybody can learn. Everybody can modify their strategies. Everybody can score, but there are some setbacks. And one of the setbacks is failure, right? Now, let's quickly move on to how to face it. Have you ever done this? Have you ever practiced in your life? The first point, look upon it as a temporary setback.
Yes.
Can, absolutely, everybody. Always remember, it's only a temporary setback. All right? When I get down and I get off the stage, probably I have a slip, maybe I have a fall, right? That doesn't mean that every time I go out of this hall, I may have a fall. Do that? No. So it's always a temporary setback. Secondly, accept it. How many of you do accept? Oh my God, I put my heart and soul into whatever I did. I spent 38 hours without sleeping. I spent sleepless nights. But look at my result. I failed. I can't believe it. Something has gone wrong. You blame it on the teacher, blame it on the parents, blame it on the subjects. Right? You refuse to accept your failure. You are always in the denial mode. Don't do that. Take responsibility. All right? I'm responsible for this temporary setback. No one else is. I'm responsible personally. Have you ever done that? Or have you picked up an argument with your parents? When you come home with your report card that says in social science, or let's say in science, you are scored only maybe about 60%. And have you ever blamed your teachers? Have you done that? Or the teacher didn't do a good job. The explanation was terrible and appalling. You haven't done it, right? But normally people do it. They have learn to accept it. Number 3, take responsibility and be honest with yourself. How will you be honest with yourself? Can somebody tell me? Nothing should be learned very your mistake, and you should quickly realize that it's you who made the mistake, it's you who was responsible for the failure, etc. And therefore you are really honest with your, be honest with yourself, take responsibility, own that, and more importantly, never ever lay the blame on someone else. It's your mistake, right? And learn from it. That's very important. When I just have a slip and a fall, and I end up breaking my nose, no, I should be more careful next time around, right? You should learn from failure. That's very important. Okay, have you ever learned from failures? Could you give a quick example?
If I have done a mistake, I'll take the paper. So like next time when I'm writing the same question or the answer, I'll not make a mistake every time.
Right, you'll be more careful.
Yeah.
You'll be very cautious. Right. I'm likely to make a mistake similarly, so I shouldn't do that. That's right. Okay? Every one of us, all of us have come across this situation. It's a very precarious, dangerous situation. Right. So more importantly, there are some children, especially I don't know about girls, girls are stronger than boys, I think. Now when you fail, you lose your heart, you become frustrated, you become sad, unhappy, you lose your cool, cheer, everything, and then you don't share your problems with anybody. Is there anyone like that? Do you share your situation, your failures with your parents? You do it, right? You should. It's very important. Never ever lock up your emotions. There are emotional fallouts, right? For example, now when you go home, your friends may look at you, oh you got only 60%. Look at my report card, I have 85%, much better than you. I'm always ahead of you, man. That adds fuel to the fire. You not only lose your cool, and you begin to curse yourself, right? Have you done that? But don't do that. Therefore, what you need to do, honestly say, I failed, I'm responsible for that. My scores are really appalling. And then you can come back home and share your feelings and emotions with your parents. Mom, I'm sorry, I did my best, but unfortunately, this particular area I didn't focus on. That's a problem. Okay? Share your emotional fallout and never view it through others' eyes. Have you ever done that? What does it mean? Can somebody explain to me? Help me. Never view your failure through others' eyes.
Some people.
Not in a judgmental way. Don't see it in a judgmental way.
One by one.
What would they think of my failure?
Absolutely. What would they think about my failure? Right. Okay, when you wear your clothes, you think that, okay, when I get into the hall, everybody should appreciate me. When I score 95%, everybody should appreciate me. Actually, that outcome is for you, for your life, for your future, for choosing a career path. Not for me. But people tend to criticize. People tend to just mock you, make fun of you, but just simply ignore. It's easier said than done. Because we have been into the system for a long time. It's not that easy to eliminate that. But try hard. Okay? Therefore, never ever view your failure through others' eyes. Okay? You have failed, all right? But if you know that, it's going to help you through all your life, in your practical life also. You are not very successful as an engineer, or as a doctor, etc. It doesn't matter. You can find out ways to improve. Right. Now, how to move forward? Have a plan to move forward. Have you ever done that? Do you have a daily plan? Do you want, have a daily plan? They do, but you don't. Okay. And the daily plan is very important. And then do you have a weekly plan every week? And then a monthly plan? No, not at all. And they say those who fail to plan are planning to fail. Did you know that? So planning is very important. You have had a little shock, or let us say this taste of failure. That's not the end of the world. You always have a second chance. All you need to do is plan better, more effectively. If you haven't done it yet, please start doing it. All you need to do is take a piece of paper, prepare a little table, columns and rows, and write on. This one I'm going to focus on. And set your priorities. Very good. Okay, science is the most challenging area. Let me spend some time reading all the lessons first. Or if I need some professional help, I'll seek the help from somebody. So do all these things and put a tick mark. Okay? Cross it out once you're done with the job. And do that every day. It takes a little longer. You need to add a little more time to your schedule. But that will pay off at the end of the day. Right? And therefore, planning is very important. Split action plans into small steps. Do that. Now, how many of you spend, let's say, 3 hours at a stretch trying to crack a lesson? It's really, let's say, theory of relativity. Which even now, although I learned way back about 40 years ago, still now I have difficulty understanding the concept. But have you ever experienced this? Spending hours together trying to crack a lesson in one go. Have you done that?
Yes.
Oh my God. Therefore, what do the experts say? They will split action plan into small steps. Okay? If it is one concept consisting of 5 different steps, step 1 first today, step 2 next tomorrow, and one more step. So that way, you just make sure that whatever you have memorized remains lingering in your mind for a long time to come. That's very important. Give it a try, okay? Break it down into smaller segments and components, and try to focus on each component, spending a little time. Relax also. And then, don't wait until tomorrow. How many of you do wait until tomorrow? When I say tomorrow, what do I mean? All of you, good. What do I mean when I say tomorrow? Tomorrow stands for a couple of days later, later. Even teachers tend to say, okay, I'll explain this concept later. But they never come back to that, right? They will say later. That's a bad idea. What you have to do, never wait until tomorrow. Get back home to your job. Okay, finish your job before you begin to relax. Improve self-esteem. How many of you have done this? What is self-esteem?
What you feel about yourself.
Absolutely. You may return home with a 60% mark, still you are an important individual. You are a great student. Have you ever just tried to pat yourself on your back? Try doing that. I have done a great job. Can you do that now? Just pat. Do that. Okay. Great students. Right? You have nothing to lose by patting yourself. Never lose your self-esteem. I am an individual. Okay? Some people, for example, somebody may try to jeopardize their credibility by trying to be someone they are not. Okay, well, I'm usually a very smart student, working very hard, but I don't know, something went wrong, I lost a few marks. No, that's wrong. You made a mistake, you take the responsibility, improve your self-esteem. Okay? Be yourself. You know the most difficult thing in this world? The most difficult thing and the most sensible, not sensible, difficult thing is to be yourself. Try to be yourself. If you have your own share of problems, experience them, seek professional help from people around you, and accept it. Okay, I have done this part, I'll certainly do a little more tomorrow. So be yourself. Try to be yourself. When you are yourself, your self-esteem will go. Alright? Then there is no question of experiencing failure. Right. Now, to the parents. The parents are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, right, good. Now, accept your children as they are, not as they should be. How many of you sitting here? Honestly, please. Be honest. Do you accept your children as they are? How many of you? Okay, give them a round of applause. Right. But again, for your kind information for children, not all the parents raise their hands. What does it mean? That's the problem. Learn to accept your children as they are and not as they should be. You expect your child, a son or daughter to come home with a very glittering report card, all 100%, and when they show up with a report card that shows only a 60, 65, 59.5, and so on, oh my God, you lose your cool. So I've seen some parents even, flaring up. They blow up on their children. I spend a lot of money on this, that, etc. You spend your time playing PlayStation, and you are ending up getting these scores. No, don't do that, please. Never ever. You should love your children. Okay? At the end of the day, your children are your assets, right? So you should love your children. Accept them as they are. Number one. Second point, slightly contradicting the first point, does not protect them against failures. Life is not failure proof, right? Life is never failure proof. So don't be overprotective. Oh my God, everything, okay, he returns home. I've seen some mothers, of course, my mother didn't do that, my wife did to my sons, okay? The moment the kid comes back from school, she picks him up, puts him on her lap, and immediately, whatever he needs, she tries to spoon feed the little boy or girl. And her only obsession is, my son or daughter should never face failure. So you are constantly overprotecting your children, which is not a good idea. So let them have a little experience of failure, doesn't matter. Have you ever celebrated failures? When your son, for example, this is for the parents, not for you. When your son returns home with a bad report card, all or C plus or D plus, etc., less than 60%. Have you ever taken your son to a restaurant? Come on, son, let's go have a party. Have you done that? I've seen one of the gentlemen, one engineer, a close friend of mine, a Toastmaster. I saw him with his son and wife sitting in a restaurant enjoying some meal late in the afternoon. I asked him, what is special about today? He said, my son has failed. He has scored only 58.5%. But the same guy is now in NIT, National Institute of Technology back in India, doing an amazing job, great youth leader, and he has won 4 scholarships offered by different, corporate companies. And he's a great student now. He's a great leader also. Just imagine, learn to celebrate failures, at least once. So the child will improve his or her self-esteem. My parents are here to support me. That's the least thing that you can do, real parents, can't you? Yes, therefore, at least once in your lifetime, learn to celebrate your failures. Okay, don't look down, frustrated, keep your cool always. Next one. Never be critical of their poor or mediocre performance. Sometimes, this is another area we need to be careful about. We criticize very quickly. We're all excellent critics. We are not good creators, right? What we were unable to achieve back in those days, we are trying to expect from our children. Do you do that? Right? I'll be very honest, I was an average student. I was not an excellent student. Maybe some of you may have been very excellent. But we always try to expect something that we couldn't achieve back in those days. They were totally critical of their performance, encourage them to keep going and help them. How do you do that? Can you give one example? I say, encourage them to keep going and help them. How do you do that? You can share your own personal example. I'm sure that you have failed many times, right? Even housewives and teachers have their own problems. So share with them an example. Look here. Long ago, in that particular year, called me in the morning. I was all set to go to school, etc. You can tell stories. Tell a loudly inspiring story. Every day give a pep talk to your children. Have you done that? Do you do that? Giving a pep talk in their own languages, right? A pep talk, nothing serves better than a pep talk. Encourage them. Give them a pat. And they feel complete. They feel confident. They improve their self-esteem. But by being critical, we are not going to help them, we are going to harm them. Get them out of the harm's way. Right. Now some tips. Now for the students. Okay? We're done with the parents. We'll let them relax now. Now, consistency, continue until success surprises. Okay, what is consistency?
Continuation.
Exactly. Now,
Sustain.
after listening to my lecture, this little talk, you go home and take a piece of paper, make a little table, okay, columns and rows, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and so on and so forth. How long? For a week. Week number 2, where is the paper? You're looking around. Okay, until someone tells you. Until man, Toastmaster Vichita Murali comes and calls you and say, hey, don't you remember what Dr. George told you? And again, you get back to action. Don't do that, please. Be consistent until you complete your student career. As students into academics, you need to spend more time planning first. Okay, design some strategy. Can you do that? You have to take credit. Today, when you go home, you have to have, it doesn't need to be a piece of paper. Take your laptop. Okay, your notepad. Just create a file. I'm done with this. Come on, score it out. Done, done, done. Make a proper plan. That's very important. Now, identify procrastination triggers. What is procrastination?
Delaying.
Delaying and delaying and delaying. Have you ever tried to figure out the triggers of procrastination? Why do you delay what you delay? Anybody? Okay.
I delay it because I don't want to start what I have to do.
Okay, you don't want to start where you have to do, right?
I'm afraid of myself.
Okay, you are afraid of the outcome. Now she says not, she doesn't want to start something she wants to do because of the outcome. So she delays, my God, now let me just postpone it to tomorrow. And she keeps deferring and deferring and deferring. Right. Is it a good idea? But now, I can just help you figure out, you know yourself, but you're not willing to share with us. The procrastination triggers are mostly your social media, right? And when you are into social media, you spend over, how long do you spend on social media? WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. Honestly tell me, how long? 3 hours? For your academic purposes or simply spending time? For academic purposes, for studying, I'm talking about social media.
Social media is 4 hours.
Uh-huh.
Studying,
4 hours.
Tuition 2 hours.
So she tries to strike a balance between social media and studying. Okay, 3 hours. Okay, what about boys? 1 hour. Are you sure? He says, only 1 hour. Okay, right. So that could be one of the triggers. Spending time on social media. Then the innate tendency to sleep. You return home fatigued, tired, exhausted, and you want to sleep for a while. Then when you wake up, it's too late to spend too many hours. Okay, and then you delay. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Then you have people to hang around with, and you have friends to visit call, and lots of other responsibilities, and as a result, you defer it. Don't do that. Identify the procrastination triggers. Work longer during biological practice. These are some of the important things you can note down. Don't worry about it. Your director and co-directors will certainly help you. They will share with you all this stuff, okay? Now this is, once you have identified the procrastination triggers, you need to work longer during the biological prime time. What is the biological prime time? Can anybody tell me? Biological prime time in your life?
Certain age when we do the most hard work, when we learn a lot.
At a certain age.
Yes.
Okay, she's very close to the answer.
Certain time.
Time.
Certain
What?
time of the day.
Okay, time of the day.
As in night time, and the early morning time is mostly biologically fixed for sleeping.
Okay,
So in the afternoon or the evening time, you can focus on work.
all right. Okay, she's almost 99% side. Give her a round of applause. Now let me add a little more definition to what you said now. Biological prime time means, for example, I just spent almost 8 hours at work. Am I right, Arlene?
Yeah.
We usually spend 8 hours. I know you spend a little longer than 8 hours, but I usually spend 8 hours. I return home tired. Then immediately sit at the computer, I just check my mails, I watch a couple of YouTube programs, time goes on. And now it is 11:30, I'm very tired. But suddenly I remember, oh my God, I have a project work to complete. Tomorrow is the deadline. I don't want to overshoot the deadline. Well, I just start working. Okay. But when I do so, I feel sleepy. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not straight on track. All right. Have you ever experienced that? When it is too late to be able to complete something, some work, and the next day morning, what do you think? What do you feel? What will be the reaction? What will be the fallout?
Regret.
You are angry with yourself, you feel frustrated, you think that you have never ever been able to complete your projects on time. All these different feelings, conflicting emotions overwhelm you, right? At the same time, if you are totally tired, just spend an hour, sleep well. Doesn't matter. Your parents will say, don't sleep. You may not be able to sleep until after 1 o'clock. No. Dear parents, for your kind information, psychologists have proved that a tired child, an exhausted child, has to have a break, has to have a rest, relaxing or sleeping for half an hour to 1 hour. And then when he wakes up, he's fresh, right? And he is able to focus completely. No interruption to his thought process. Have you ever tried that? When you are tired, too tired, sleepy, would you like to study or sleep?
Yes.
Okay, when you are fresh, free from distractions, free from sleep, you are not tired, you are fresh, then you can achieve more productivity. That's what's called biological prime time. Drink plenty of water. Do you drink plenty of water? You have stopped drinking carbonated drinks, right? Like Coke and other things. You don't drink anymore. Why? It's too expensive now, right? Everything else. So you can't afford to drink. But about the jokes apart, avoid drinking all this stuff. Drink plenty of water, you'll find a big difference. That also contributes to your biological prime time. Okay, can you do that? Always figure out the biological prime time. Fresh that time and do not do anything else. Don't do less important jobs by sending a text message, calling somebody, quickly looking up Facebook account. No, don't do that. When you're fresh, able to study, work on your projects. Okay. Humans are wired differently in any time choice. What does it mean? We are all wired differently. For example, I love to remain awake until after midnight. I have never gone to bed before 12 midnight. But how many of you do that? Right. But some children are very good at, they are conditioned to wake up early in the morning. They wake up, they don't sleep after 4. They wake up in the morning, have a shower or have a cup of tea, then they sit down to work. How many of you do that? See? There are some waking up in the morning, some remaining awake until after midnight. So we differ. We are wired differently. We are conditioned differently, right? If you are comfortable remaining awake until after midnight, go ahead. At the end of the day, you want to get around failure and achieve what is called success, right? Academic success. If you are not comfortable, if you can afford to wake up only early in the morning, do that. Somebody may say the problem is parents are not always well informed. They haven't graduated from the school of parenting, have they? No. So they may come up with ill-founded ideas, improper words, etc. They may say, no, go to bed. Wake up in the morning. And you go to bed, you don't sleep. And you are unable to wake up in the morning. Even if you do, you are not able to focus on anything. Has it happened to you? And therefore, you can tell you have the moral right, if not the legal right, to tell your parents that, Mom or Dad, this is the time I can work productively, so let me alone. Leave me alone, please. You can tell them. Or if you think if they force you to work on your project, do something late at night, you can tell them, I'm very tired, I'm sleepy, I want to hit the sack, I want to sleep, I'll wake up in the morning. You can do that. Because we are wired differently. Okay? You don't need to listen to the words of your parents or somebody around you, considering them as words of wisdom. Okay? You know better than you are all well informed, well enlightened kids. Right. Now, before we conclude, let's take a look. Aerodynamic forces and bumblebees. Why have we done this? Where do we find these forces? Aerodynamic forces.
Planes, rockets, cars.
Okay, rockets, aircraft, etc. Now, can you name the 4 little aerodynamic forces? First, Murali, I'm getting into your area, science. Okay. So, drag, then the opposite, thrust,
Trust.
lift, pull or gravity, right? Gravity, weight or pull, lift, drag, and thrust. All of these forces have to be at work, and they are at work. Then what happens? What do you like? You all like an aircraft, right? How many of you like to be pilots? Fighter pilots. Anybody? You don't have a big dream, huh? Or at least a commercial pilot? Right. Now here, you want to be a pilot? Great. I appreciate it. Give it a round of applause. Okay, now let's draw an analogy between these aerodynamic forces and your own forces. Number 1, every time you want to move forward, there is something that drags you, right? So what do you need to do? The pilot goes full throttle. On the aircraft, no matter how big it is, it may be 747 super turbo aircraft, but still it moves forward. Okay? With a payload of more than 1,000 tons, passengers, everything, it goes ahead because its thrust is more than the drag. It moves forward. Now let's move on to lift. So when does an aircraft lift? Gently up in the air. When does it lift? When the lift force is greater than the gravity, right? So it has to, the aircraft has to achieve almost 0 gravity to be able to lift off the ground, right? And you are like an aircraft. Imagine, I'm not joking, I'm not kidding. I mean what I say. You are like an aircraft. You are capable of moving forward. And all you need to do is when there is a drag, you should have sufficient thrust. When there is a gravity pulling you down, there should be enough lift. Okay? All right. What is that technology called? What helps you achieve that lift? There is a technology in aerodynamics. Am I doing something too much? You enjoy it, right? Talking about aircraft, lift and thrust, etc. Airfoil technology, am I right, sir? Airfoil technology, the curvature, the general curvature of the wings, right? It should also be like that. Okay? Increase the force and the velocity of the wind as you move forward. So, what do you think can be the gravity for you now? Something that keeps pulling you, brings you down. You try to rise, something pulls you down. I told you there's nothing called failure.
Fear, social fear.
Fear, right? Procrastination, there are many triggers, okay? Right? And all these things. You spend a lot of time on distractions, including social media, etc. And therefore, this is where you need to work on. You have to work harder, trying to make sure that your lift is greater than your gravity. You have to do that. Like a bumblebee. Have you seen a bumblebee? I have. Have you? Have you seen the bumblebees?
Yes.
Go home and just quickly, Google bumblebee. You have the images, pictures, and description, etc. It looks like a tiny little ball. It's not like a regular bee. If you look at the wingspan, it is too short. Short wings, small, tiny little wings. If you look at the body, my God, you think that it can never ever lift, fly, or stay airborne, but it does. Why? It's terrific confidence, along with its commitment to flying high in the air, staying airborne. And therefore, just like the RPM of an engine, its RPM, let me just draw this analogy, the RPM of its wing, how often does it flutter? They say it's more than 1,000 times per second. The wings are fluttering at an incredible pace that it lifts gently, remains airborne, moves forward, maneuvers, goes around, does all those things. It's a bumblebee. When a bumblebee can do, why can't you? Can't you? Sure? So now let's quickly wrap up. Would you like to plan? Or would you like to plan to fail? No. You will certainly, today, tonight, when you go home, because they're doing a great service. Madam Mr. Murphy and Mr. Subramaniam, they have selected you. You are the chosen people. You are fortunate to have in the safe hands of great people. And therefore go home, follow my simple ideas. Alright? And occasionally get into a discussion with your parents. Mom and Dad, why don't I do this? Why don't I try this technique? Can I change this strategy? Always be yourself. Now the point I told you, right? Improve your self-esteem and focus on your work during biological prime time. If you like to sleep now, right after you leave this hall today, go and sleep, no problem. Who's going to stop you? Sleep, but sleep well. Wake up and return to work. Life is not a holiday always, right? Is it? Life is not free lunch. Is it? No. One has to work very hard. But never ever think that there is something called failure. What is failure at the end of the day? It is moving from. Okay. It is like success and progress, right? And success is? Absolutely. Now, I'll give you a couple of. Do you have anything else to talk about? I think in conclusion I've done it. Now, last but not the least, forget about this. Have you ever come across this Bloom's technology? Taxonomy, I'm sorry. Teachers might be remembering. You know, Benjamin Bloom was a great educationist and a psychologist born and raised in the United States. And he gave some clear ideas about the learning curves and the learning outcomes. And he built a pyramid. He classified the learning outcomes into different levels of complexity. Like he started the base level, just like a pyramid. I don't have a picture. You can Google later. The first level is called remembering. When you are in the process of acquiring knowledge and applying the knowledge to your practical situation, the first step is remembering. Right after that, understanding. Then after that, applying whatever you have. Then after that, you analyze. Right after that, you synthesize. Then you evaluate. Then finally you create. Alright? By learning the forces of aerodynamics, and if you are able to assemble an aircraft sooner than later, or sooner or later, then I can say you have overcome or you have learned all these steps. But at school, what are the things that you are learning? What are the things you are learning at school? How are these? Do you remember remembering? It was simple knowledge. For example, you remember this is a remote control. You remember. But some of them do remember without knowing what it is all about. Okay? Therefore they don't understand. Remembering, understanding, come on, tell me. Analyzing, okay, synthesizing, okay, evaluating, and finally you are creating. These are the different levels that you elucidate when we talk in terms of learning outcomes. But in school, you are struggling with analysis and probably. You remember, you read the this, right? Why to worry about it? You have still a long way to go. Never ever be scared of failures. Okay, can you do that? You are great students. Your parents must be proud of you. And they will continue to love you. Won't you? Love your kids. Be their role models. Never ever be critical of them. They will do a great job. Thank you so much.
Was that an informative session?
Yes.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
I'm sure it was an eye-opener not only for children but the parents alike. And I'm sure all of you would look at failure the same way from today on. Am I right?
Yes.
Lot of understanding, lot of lessons to be learned from sir's workshop. Thank you so much, sir. As a token of our appreciation, I would like to invite our founder director and our co-founder.
And normally in the workshop, we haven't had it. There is a question and answer session. If they do have, they can mail. And we can share with them my email ID.
Yes.
Because you have 2 more sessions to follow, right? Tomorrow we have a session, right?
We have no session.
Right. You can share with them, with the students and the parents, my email ID, any questions related to failure, success, etc.
Yes.
Can be addressed to me. Okay? That's my email ID.
Exactly. So we will be providing them your email ID. Thank you so much, sir. As a token of our appreciation and our gratitude. So, are we done for today, kids? Yes? Or you want more? No, I know. We are not that good. We'll have the sessions tomorrow. But before we wrap up for today, we would like to hear from a few parents if they would like to share how the experience has been till now with Mind Academy. Anyone, any volunteers from the parent side who would like to share their experience with Mind Academy? Yes, sir. Please, please come on stage, sir.
Kids and parents, sorry, I'm not this properly, but actually I was very impressed when I came for the screening interview. The dedication, the fire of dedication which I saw in Mr. Murli and Bala. But I mean, it was, I mean, for us as parenting, I found it very rare. We have been in many countries so far, and we didn't see this anywhere. And I think kids will have a lot of inputs in choosing their career by this program, and I'm very much thankful to the whole team. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your valuable feedback, sir. Anyone else would like to share your experience? Yes, sir, please.
Thank you, Madam Mujita, for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate this because today world there is a lot of competition, a lot of opportunities. Not only kids, when parents are totally confused what to do and what is their future, in which area they can shine very well, they can shine very well. And this is a real challenge, and we always expect somebody can guide us. Even though we are educated, we have different experiences, especially in this young days when these children are at that stage, we don't know exactly how to interact. So really it was very, very useful that workshop what you are conducting, and I salute Murli Krishna and Bala for doing this excellent job. It's really a great service to the society. I've taken it that way only, and this motivates us also to keep doing something for the society. And keep it up. We will have further, tomorrow we'll see that how that progress, we'll have interact with the children and understand what is that, what they learn, and we will further give feedback. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, sir. So, since we are short of time, I would like to tell you all, parents, please feel free to share your experience, feedbacks, both positive and negative, because we are also just starters. We would definitely like to improve ourselves. Please feel free to give your feedbacks in the group or to Mr. Murli in person. And with that, we are coming to the end of this session for today. And I would like to announce a few things about tomorrow. We'll be starting at 8:30 tomorrow. All parents are requested to please drop your kids at 8:30. You are so it's not necessary for you to stay back. You can drop them and you can leave and come back at 3:30 tomorrow evening to attend the closing session and to take them in. So with that, let's wrap today's proceedings. Anything else? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being such a cooperative audience. Thank you. God bless you all.